Welcome everyone to the regular meeting of the Village Trustees, Tuesday, May 27th, 2025, 6 p.m. Call the regular meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda review. Anybody have anything to add to the agenda? No. Number 4, public comment. Welcome, public. Any comments? Not right now. Okay.
Gaming tonight.
Run along. Number 5, approve and accept minutes from Monday, May 12th, 2025. Meeting as presented.
I will move we approve the minutes from Monday, May 12th, 2025 as presented.
I second that motion.
Okay, we have a first and a second to approve the meeting minutes. Any further discussion on the meeting minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Meeting minutes approved. Number 6, approve and accept village warrants through Thursday, May 22nd, 2025.
I move that we approve and accept the village warrants to Thursday, May 22nd, 2025.
And I'll second.
All right, we have a first and a second to approve the warrants through Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. Any further discussion on the warrants?
Yes. Diane, there was the one extra one that includes, this is the one,
Yeah, that was dated 5/22, so
Okay.
she cut last week.
okay, I
So
couldn't remember if it was 22 or 23.
Yeah, no, it was cut last week.
Okay. Nope, all good.
All good? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting warrants approved. Thank you very much. Number 7, Swanton Village Police Department update with Chief Matt Sullivan. Welcome, Matt. It's been busy.
It has.
Everybody's got
As
spring
soon as
fever.
we had a little break in the weather, it really picked up quickly. So you'll see the summary for the village for April of 2025. There were 144 incidents. The top 10 incident types were 19 suspicious person incidents, 16 directed patrol, 15 traffic stop, 10 threatening, 9 VIN inspection, 9 citizen assist, 6 welfare check, 5 theft, 5 community outreach, and 5 citizen disputes. Out of those traffic stops, there were apparently 9 tickets and 11 warnings associated with traffic stops, and one of those must have been a civil ticket for the 10th ticket there. There were 6 arrests representing 6 individuals and 11 separate charges. And there were 0 arrests associated with traffic for the village. There were, in the town report, you have my notes also on your copy from the town, so there's some scribble on the left-hand side there. But there were 120 incidents in the town in April. Of those 120 incidents, the top 10 incident types, you had 46 traffic stops, 24 directed patrol, 7 suspicious, 5 threatening, 4 agency assist, 3 community outreach, 3 restraining order, 2 motor vehicle complaint, 2 crash with damage, and I'm not sure what that other one is. It's jumbled up in there. Oh, I believe it's custody dispute. 2 custody disputes. Of those 46 traffic stops, there were 9 tickets and 33 warnings issued. There were 3 arrests representing 3 individuals and 3 charges in the town. There were also 48 additional service hours provided to the town. And a lot of that is associated with, you'll see my first note on the left is the Governor's Highway Safety Detail. It's force multiplier. We had a lot of officers participating in Governor's Highway Safety Details during the daytime, primarily in the town, engaged in traffic enforcement. That's why you see those traffic stop numbers up so high. And then another note was that MVSD is interested in getting an SRO for the elementary school, or schools, I should say. So we're in the process of discussing that with MVSD. It's a little complicated in the fact that there is some grant money out there that we found, but the issue is how tedious it is to maintain the grant and actually how much money is available. I think we broke it down to maybe just over $40,000 a year But then it's that maintenance of the grant over time. And I think the other big issue is, my experience recently with federal grants is that it's taking almost a year to get the grant actually processed and then approved. So it may be difficult, and I think with this grant, you would have to hire a new employee into an SRO position. You couldn't already hire that individual and then slide them into the grant, is my understanding. So that's another complicating factor here. So what we had pitched, because we have 2 open full positions, a way to avoid this is to possibly eat one of our positions for that first school year in the fall. And then the good thing for us is it splits fiscal years for us. And then give the school district time to build it into their budget for the next school year, so that then they assume the cost of that officer. And we did run numbers, and they've been forwarded to the school district, so they have rough estimated costs. But again, it's difficult to project those numbers, especially going out, just because of the way costs have increased as far as healthcare and officer salaries and that sort of thing, to stay competitive. So they're really rough estimates.
Right, yeah. There's no grant money for the SRO at MVU, right?
Not anymore. There was
Okay.
initially, so that's how that
Right.
position was hired. It was
Yep.
on a grant, but that has since expired.
Okay, and who managed that? Did they or we?
We did.
We did, yeah.
So it's possible that they could manage it,
Yep.
but I don't know how much capacity they have or how much interest they have
Right,
in actually being the applicant for the grant.
yeah.
The problem with the old one is the people that were in the police department when it was written and approved since moved on.
Yep.
So I was the only one left on it, and they wouldn't add Matt. There's this whole process. And I kept getting emails saying, so-and-so hasn't, created their account. Well, so-and-so hasn't been here for 2 years, but I tried to get Matt in there, so it made it cumbersome, because
Yep.
progress reports that really he should have been writing, like I was going in, getting the information, and
Yeah, no, I think if they want to pursue the grant, then it should be them, not us.
Yeah, it's difficult. I can tell you my experience in Burlington is that Burlington decided to no longer entertain COPS grants because it was just too cumbersome to maintain. They didn't feel like it was worth the effort for the monetary.
Runs out eventually anyway, it
Support.
sounds like, so.
Right, it does. It's a
3 years.
transition, yeah, to the school district taking on full-time. So that's still in discussion.
Yep.
We'll see where that lands, but the positive thing was that I had 2 employees, one who left us after 11 years to get a job with the federal government and is considering coming back full-time. He expressed interest in that, and I also had one officer who just recently left us from a full-time position to go part-time, also expressed interest possibly if that position was available. So I think it's appealing to officers because it's a different environment than just dealing with criminal activity on the street. Don't get me wrong, they deal with plenty of issues at the schools, both at the high school, and then thankfully there are less issues at the elementary schools, but still they exist. So they're definitely doing their fair share of criminal work also. But it is appealing for officers. So it's still one of the challenges you'll see is still a challenge in hiring. This is a good example. So I reached out to several individuals who I know are scheduled to retire or already have retired from the Burlington Police Department, who I think would have been great fits for the SRO position in the elementary school here. None of them had any interest in doing any sort of law enforcement work after being in Burlington for 20 years.
Wow.
So just no interest at all whatsoever. Don't want to be in uniform, don't want to do the job anymore. So it is a challenge as far as hiring people.
Yep.
The drug work continues, it's never ending. It's cyclical, we'll deal with a problem and then another problem crops up. I mean, obviously we had the homicide on 4th Street that was also related to drug activity. But that went very smoothly overall. It's a shame that it had to come down to a homicide. When realistically, I mean, that low-level drug activity had been happening at that address for many years. So it's certainly an issue, and it's difficult to deal with these issues. because it's not as straightforward. I mean, we have to abide by the law and act within the law when we're trying to address criminal activity, and that in particular was difficult to deal with over there.
Sure. So, just had one question on the agency ticket report. The last column is penalty. Is that the fine amount?
It looks like it is. It's probably the waiver penalty.
Okay.
So it's the waiver penalty if they choose to pay the ticket. And then just knowing that a lot of these fines, the maximum is like $1,157 or something like that, and then the minimum is something much less. So in looking at those numbers, I would say those are the waiver fines.
Okay. That was the only question I had. And everything is an uptick now that we have some decent weather.
It has been, it's been extremely busy. I mean, there's been multiple fraud cases. And I guess the thing that the public really should is, obviously not being engaged in law enforcement, you're not gonna necessarily understand this, but for example, I had a case that began at 8:14 this morning. I have been tied up all day until 5 o'clock on that case, and I was the only one working today. So just to get the paperwork associated with that case took until 5 o'clock. These cases are not easy, and it's something that's beyond our control as far as the demands of paperwork, because it's the judicial system that dictates what the affidavits look like and all the paperwork that we have to complete in order to put together a criminal case. So it's a good example of where when we only have one officer on the road, they can get a case like that, and it takes them off the road for the rest of the day, just engaging in paperwork. So it's difficult, and we have no buffer, so that's the other thing. So for example, we have one officer who's on vacation beginning, and so we have night shifts that we've been scrambling to try to fill. Where thankfully some of our officers are more flexible than others and are trying to adjust schedules and pick up hours and evening hours to cover those shifts. But it makes it very challenging without a buffer. What we used to call in Burlington, the availability factor of 86.5% essentially was that if you had so many officers scheduled on any given shift, only 86.5% of them were actually available due to vacation time, injury, sick time, that sort of thing. Military leave. So it makes it challenging for us being such a small agency.
And the only other thing I had was one on the pie chart, threatening. Is that something new? I don't recall seeing it, but I may have.
I don't think it's necessarily new. I would have to look at each one of those incidents to see, but I'm surprised it's not flagged as disorderly conduct, because generally that would fall underneath disorderly conduct.
Yeah, that's
if
what I
you're
was
making verbal
thinking.
threats toward other people.
Yep.
So I would have to look to see, because the nomenclature actually changes within this system from agency to agency as far as call types. So I would have to take a deeper dive into that and see exactly.
I was more curious and, thinking it may be coded under something else, or where it should be coded under something else rather than that.
But my guess is it was something along the lines of verbal threats.
Yep.
Because if there was more than that, then it would be classified as something else.
Right.
But it's also a good example of how, it may come in as something, and it's dispatch when they create the incident, they flag it as that sort of call type, and then it may be something different, and then the officers just start changing the call type, because they're not really focused on that as they're going through and filling out all the fields of data that are required for each incident.
Yep.
It's, but yeah, I would have to look at that, I have to get back to you.
Yeah, they're just more of a comment, that's about it. I've got no other questions or comments.
None here, thank you.
How's that?
Okay.
Thank you very much, chief.
Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome to stay and relax or.
Or, you know, go home.
Yeah, or
It's
go
a-
home.
It's been a pretty long day already.
Go back and work on that case that started this morning.
Yeah, well, it involved a brief pursuit. So it was a heck of an issue that's ongoing because the individual is still in the wind, so,
Yeah,
so, we'll see.
Good luck.
best of luck.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
Number 8, discussion on potential electric rate case.
So VEPSA has run our 2024 data, and we're looking at needing, without the building, we're looking at needing a 6 or 7% rate increase. So what they have proposed is right now, we are still within our 10 years that we can file for the 3%, which is a section 218D. So what they're proposing, they did this at the last board meeting, they did this whole schedule. I can pass those out to you guys. I think there's 2 extras. I think there's 4 or 5.
This is what's across the board.
Yeah, so that schedule that I'm handing out is like all of the utilities that VEPSA handles. So you'll see I highlighted up towards the top. They're looking at this spring. The date has slipped a little bit, but filing for a 3% for us, if you guys agree with that. And then later, they had really pushed us like into the fall. But at the last board meeting, before I went into the board meeting, Steve Farnham and I talked, and it's we're gonna try and coincide that second one to include the rate impact with the new building. And run all of that together. So that date will slip a little bit, because I won't have, most likely, this fall date, I won't have the known immeasurables of what the bond costs will be nailed down with the bond bank. But this was just more to let you guys know, that they're proposing that we do a 3% rate increase now. That'll be in effect this summer. And then there will be another one that is separate from the building, like this impact is, we needed it no matter what.
First one in 10 years.
Right, and we're fortunate that we're still within that 10-year window so that we can do, the 3% is really, shouldn't be investigated, it's more streamlined than a full-blown rate case. There'll still be testimony that we have to add in, but it won't be anywhere near as intensive, as time-consuming as a whole rate case will be.
And VEPSA's recommending this?
Is there a reason they're recommending it now and they didn't recommend it earlier?
They look at them, like, our 2023 data showed we didn't need a rate case.
Okay.
2024,
It's showing
those
we
financials
do.
show we're ready.
All that tree trimming.
Yeah, that we're at the point where we're gonna need to go in for a rate case,
Okay.
so.
And what are the terms for under the financial and power columns?
So financial and power is who at VEPSA is gonna handle the financial data. Power is purchase power, because that's a huge part. So those initials are just employees at VEPSA.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
they were just, when they did this, and you'll see there's IRPs, like our IRP is in like a little better than halfway down. That's gotta be done later this year also.
What is that?
That's our integrated resource plan, so it's like our 5-year plan,
Okay.
and we have to do it every 5 years.
Okay.
So this was their schedule that they handed out to the board directors on, this is what we've got coming down the pike, and, so, I mean, you can see everybody's in for rate cases.
Right, I'm just worried
I
about
see
like
that.
raising the rates this spring and then turning around and raising the rates.
So I'm
Again.
guessing that fall one won't be until probably next year.
Okay,
because I'm not gonna do the spring bond pool, I'm gonna do the winter bond pool. So that won't close until March, and I really want those
March 2026.
2026.
Okay,
Because I want that impact, because otherwise we'll be doing another rate case next year.
right,
So I wanna be able to, because you can only put in for known and measurables, and until the bond bank actually closes on those bonds, it's not measurable yet,
Okay.
because your interest rate's not known, your debt service payment's not known. So I'm trying to schedule it so we'll be able to have that locked in. We'll have our project costs locked in, so we'll be able to put that into our rate case.
okay, so what the proposition is we do this 3% now,
Now.
which will take effect
So-
July or August?
Yeah, it's 45, we can implement 45 days after they file.
Okay.
So like you can see, like, they've got estimated filing
Oh, I
dates and
know.
everything.
Yeah.
That's all gonna slip.
Slide back,
Yeah,
okay.
because when they did this schedule and then we had the board meeting, like, some of these dates had already passed.
Passed, okay. So then this will be, the first one, 3% for 2025, and then the next one
I would put
would be 2026 to
Yeah.
include the building.
Yeah, that's what my hope is, that we plan to do it that way. That way it's only one more and it's not gonna be another one after that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's-
cause
that's
I would just feel, to do it and then do it again
Yeah.
and then do it a third time,
Right,
that
and
just,
that's what I don't wanna
I don't
do.
wanna do that.
And if I do it in the spring, I will be using 2025's data.
Oh, okay,
So it's your most recent, year end,
mm-hmm,
plus you adjust for known and measurables. And the other thing I won't have this fall, cause we don't have a union, I don't have the 2026 rate, wage impact either. And until, like, I can't put that into a rate case unless it has been adopted. So, like, I can't say, oh, we always give X% at least. They will only put in what we're paying people now. So there's all these, and like, we won't know the health insurance increase, any of those benefit increases. So it's better off I think, to push it just over into the first of the year,
okay.
where there's a whole bunch of unknowns that will be locked in.
Just so people are aware out there, we're not Ludlow and we're not Northfield, which is over 20% regions.
There's some pretty big ones here.
Yeah, there are. Wow.
But some of them haven't been in for a little bit.
Well, it's nice to be on the low side.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of the building and the electric department and everything, our 108 is chugging forward for the financing on the building. I submitted supplemental testimony last Thursday for it with an updated amount for what the bond was approved for by the voters. I haven't seen any emails back from our attorneys over the weekend, so I'm assuming they haven't heard anything.
Well, it was a nice weekend.
So, that's moving forward also.
So when we haven't filed for this increase yet?
No. They haven't even started, like, I've sent them our 2024 financial statements, but they haven't come back to me with any questions yet.
Okay. So the 6 to 7% overall, that's an average.
Yeah,
for everybody.
they were looking at 6 to 7% in total is what we needed. We can only file for a max of 3% using the 218D
Okay.
process. But then we gotta make up you gotta make up the difference. You can't lag behind, so, or you're just gonna compound your problems, so.
Yep.
Next year we'll
Okay.
do the rest.
Alright,
Still be my lowest
do you want us to do a motion?
I don't think so yet because, they haven't filled out any of the paperwork.
Okay,
or
so we'll
anything.
wait until
Yeah, I would say,
until they get the paperwork together.
yeah,
and then
until
we'll
they've
do it.
actually like done the work,
The
like
case.
they haven't done the work yet. I mean,
Gotcha.
So I would say, but it'll be coming up in the next meeting or two.
Or two. All right, perfect. Thanks,
We
Lynn.
have something ready. Worry about it later. Well, thank you, Lynn. Right along, village manager update, which is.
There is nothing,
Nothing.
actually. The email I got today, he said he was gonna put that on hold, so.
Okay,
Perfect.
other than the fact
Yes.
we still don't have water in some parts.
We don't,
I don't think we do.
The guys have all gone
Are they,
home.
are they on home, so it's
So at 3 o'clock,
back on?
Mike Bushy called and said it was fixed, but it would take a good hour or two to build up 500 feet
Okay,
of line, so so everyone should have water.
and probably need to flush.
And
Right.
to let the water run,
Yep.
yeah, it's when we stir it up.
Well, that's good news. All right, moving right along. Number 10, any other necessary business?
I just want to give a shout out for probably the biggest Memorial Day parade Swanton has had in its
It was nice.
100 and so many years history. It was fantastic. The amount of people that came in to join the parade was awesome. We had a lot of people lining the streets, which was great. You know, a lot of people forget that Memorial Day, we honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice, and, you know, it's important to remember those names.
All 53 of them.
All 53 of them, exactly. But you know, kudos to Swan PD for helping out. Swanton Fire, who did the free barbecue, and they handled traffic for me. They just did and you as well.
I did traffic.
You did traffic. But they just, you know, they really stepped up their game, and I can't thank them enough for all the help that they did. So,
It's a good
you know,
day.
it was a really good day. The weather cooperated. Don't ask me why. We all know, but don't ask me why. Yeah, no, thanks again to the community for the support of this event. And if people are looking to get involved next year, please reach out. I could use an extra 2 sets of hands getting the parade lined up and keeping things moving along. So.
and on that note, the biggest thing I noticed was the diversity of the participants in the parade. There's a lot of different factions, the scouts,
Yep.
and the team, the different teams, and there's a lot of different.
A
people.
lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ATVs and
It's the biggest one we've had in a while.
ever. That is a while.
Yeah, it's a while. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but no, thank you so much to the community, and, you know, we appreciate the patience, and hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the free food, and we'll see you again next year.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
I just want to give a thanks to Dean Ryan for all his help with the beautifications prep and planting days. And then I want to give a thanks to Jody Tanner, PJ, and Nate for putting all those banners up. They put up 75 banners in like 3 days and had everybody up for Memorial Day, including the veterans, which was really good. And then just some events that are happening this weekend. Friday night at 5:30, we have family night in the park featuring the band Third Shift. And then the rec is having their all teams jamboree on Saturday at 9 a.m. And then this weekend, the Swanton businesses are having a sidewalk sale. That's Divine Treasures, Vision, Scampers, the House of Pizza, Missing Piece, Ace, B's, Part Store, Habitat, and Tipsy Daisy are all participating. And then on Sunday, Divine Treasures is having their 2nd annual food drive during their business hours. So if you have any food, please go and donate it. That's all I have.
Well, a big thank you for all those who attended the powwow. Swan Rec over the
Yes.
weekend. I know Saturday was kind of a tricky day, but Sunday I think made up for it. So,
Yes, it did.
okay, moving right along. Let's go to number 11. Enter water commissioner meeting to hear Renee Chaffee and Ryan Jordan's water allocation requests.
I'll move we go into water commissioners at 6:31.
I'll second.
All right, we have a first and a second to enter the water commissioners meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, in the meeting we are.
Okay,
Welcome, Renee.
thank you. So, yes, I am looking for a water allocation for an existing water line that I have that we haven't been using for years. So on Spring Street where I have our old farmhouse and our barn, there's a water line for the house.
Way down there.
Yep, and then a water line for the barn, which we disconnected the barn 20 years ago probably, and it's just been sitting there. And so we would like to bring in a mobile home that we're gonna put where the barn, well, part of the barn once was. And so hoping to be able to use that water line again and have a 2-bedroom water allocation for the mobile home.
Well,
What's that?
So, she's requesting 400 gallons per day for that. Dean Ryan went and checked out the existing line. He's familiar with it all and approves it. Doesn't have any issues with it.
Okay.
That's a private line, isn't it?
Well, no, you guys have it now.
No,
We
we-
turned it over to
Yeah.
the village in, I think 2014, somewhere around there.
2014.
Where's the property?
381 US Route 7, so
Upper
just
Spring.
Upper Spring Street.
3 past the Mighty Fine.
Your neighborhood.
Oh, okay.
Where is the last
This is
two?
a pasture house.
Gotcha, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Highgate, so it's the Highgate
Yep.
Water Association.
It's a
We're gonna
Highgate
go-
water line, but it's ours.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
yep.
All right, I see no reason not to approve it if Dean says it's okay, so
Yeah, Public Works.
make
Gave
a
his
motion
blessing.
to approve Renee's request.
Second.
All right, we have a
Second that
person.
motion.
Person is second to approve Renee's request to put a water line back in action. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Easy peasy.
And then-
Business. Mo, you got something to add?
Oh, so we have one more
Ryan
after
Jordan.
you done with
Oh, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So Ryan Jordan called me a few weeks ago. He is remodeling his property at 128 Grand Avenue. He's adding 3 new 1-bedroom efficiency apartments. We'll use the existing line that's there and already has a meter in place for that. So he is requesting an additional 300 gallons per day for those efficiency apartments.
I'll move that we approve the extra 300 gallons per day for Ryan Jordan's project.
I'll second.
Awesome.
All right, we have a first and a second to approve the Ryan Jordan's request for an extra 300 gallons per day for 3-minute addition.
For your efficiency.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Congratulations, Ryan, and thank you for the business.
Car
Quonset
wash,
hut, yeah.
Quonset.
And I'll move we come out of water commissioners at 6:35.
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a first and second to exit the water commissioner meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Out we are. Okay, number 12, executive session to discuss a legal matter.
I
We're there
move that
already.
we find that we enter an executive session for the trustees to receive confidential legal information for which the premature disclosure of it to the general public would clearly place the trustees and other at substantial disadvantage. I also move that we allow Ms. Chaffee to stay for the meeting.
Second.
First and second to go into executive session, and there we have it. Closing down the public part.
No,
Thank you.
all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.